My companion is Cam. I'm not an artist for him. Every time I appear in the news, it's always about diplomats. They are unable to compete at this level. When I entered the club 30 deep while kicking ass, what did it do? The diplomats looked good as a result. I made diplomats. I am currently capable of competing at the highest level. He cautioned me to stay away from my era after saying he's kinder than Nas on the microphone. I came up with the name Love and Hip Hop. I go by that name. That name wasn't created by them. For 20 years in a row, Jim Jones has been capping. I was Diplomat's CEO. And today, we're using receipts to expose every single untruth. We discovered 11 instances where Jim Jones was directly exposed for lying after searching through court records, old interviews, and social media meltdowns. You'll see why the whole hiphopdiplomats.hiphop world is finally criticizing him by the end of this video. Let's begin with one of the biggest lies in his repertoire, Love and Hip Hop, before delving into his latest fantasies. Jim Jones and Chrissy Lampkin have stated time and time again that Jim is the creator of Love and Hip Hop, and that is his invention. He claims that Jim was the creator of the entire show, which was centered around their relationship. Everyone is aware that you contributed to the launch of the Love and Hip Hop series, among other things. We are aware that you have not taken part in this season. What's the backstory on that? It's not my kind of TV, and you know what? I didn't want to do it. I didn't help start it either. My show was that. That was my initiative. Together with Chrissy, I composed the entire template. That's how it works then. However, industry coverage presents an entirely different picture. All official credits and trade publications identify Mona Scott Young as the show's creator and executive producer. Chrissy and Jim were only participants. I'm trying to go past all of it. Oh my God. The drama is what it is. It simply arrived as part of the entire package. I also have faith that she is aware of my genuine concern for Jim and for her. You know, one of the best parts of my production of the play was their engagement. I do a lot of in this field, but I never get credit for it. Jim Jones, the inventor and founder, should be included when someone says Love and Hip Hop. I wasn't very into it. It was made by me. It has nothing to do with nobody. Hip Hop anybody. Jim Ackerman was the man who had been watching me online for a long time. Chrissy was scheduled to perform. She was unable to listen to the music. Yo, I'm ready to do reality TV. If you do a show around anybody, .around, Chrissy and I'll be a part of the show for the whole thing, right? I said to Jim Ackerman over the phone. Since I wasn't doing any shows at the time, Chrissy and Yandy went on the road with Missy Elliott to get her money. And she told Mona, yo, hold Jim down while I'm gone playing management. Playing management. I had a few more meetings at VH1. I brought Mona along to the conference. She entered as my manager and departed as the producer of my entire show template based on the program's name. I created the moniker Love and Hip Hop. I go by that name. That name wasn't created by them. I was unaware of that. Did you hear? I was unaware that Emily actually came up with that moniker. Have you heard? As We Like, that served as our entire template. Even though we knew Fab wouldn't be on TV, it was based on the idea that they were supposed to be about the spouses and girlfriends of hip-hop stars, starting with Chrissy and Chrissy's pal, Emily. That was how it was meant to be. Of the initial one, indeed. Making a show is much different than pitching an idea to someone. This is crazy. When your name isn't on the credits, claiming to be the creator of one of the biggest reality series in TV history is beyond delusional. Ninja from Harlem. There have been several public reconciliations between Jim Jones and Cam'ron after their beefs, but they never last long. Tension between the two has skyrocketed since he claimed to have made diplomats, and Cam has revealed other lies that Jim Jones had told. Listen, I'm going to make a few adjustments because we've been on vacation and I've been chatting a lot. You are both a designer and a guardian angel. Because, man, what the Gunster management are you talking about? Bro, you're from the Bronx. You're not from Harlem. Bro, why do you still claim to be from Harlem? You're not from Harlem. Money, I didn't grow up with you. You and I did not grow up together. I did not grow up with you, despite what you think. You're from the neighborhood. Did your grandmother reside in Harlem? Indeed. Have you visited her? Indeed. Have I occasionally seen you? Indeed. You and I did not grow up together. You discuss riding a dick. That's why I would have left you alone throughout this entire Unstra. I would have ignored the entire. Dick is riding. Do you recall how we got together? Take a moment. Not met, then. How did you become cool with us? This is how Joe Mo became irritated with us. We were having a great time. There was no internet. Mace, my eye, Saf, Big Al, Bloodshed, my eye, Bloodshed, Anman, Herb, McGruff, even though Big Al are Bloodshed and McGruff are on the same page, and Mace are on the same page. Before the internet, we were really popular in the street. Everyone was aware that a record contract was on the horizon. Everyone was aware of this. There was no secret. After hearing our freestyles, you approached me one day while I was relaxing in front of the house and said, "Yo, man, I heard the freestyles. Y'all, this McGruff are on the same page. Chuostavio, you know my grandmother died. If y'all want to come by just hang out, y'all could. Y'all more besium y'all are than welcome." We responded, "All right, Joe Mo, thank you." We thought, yo, money, what is Joe Mo inviting us to his house for? At the moment, so it didn't really make sense. Despite his coolness. However, I didn't see the point of going to Joe Mo's residence. There are more freestyles released. You heard the new. The all air sound that you did. I've heard that you did a new. Hey, Sound Project, would you like to come through? Pass through. One day, I'm heading back to the east side, from Maze's west side home. I made a stop at Joe Mo's residence. His granny passed away. Bless her soul, God. Additionally, he received a complimentary cot. Yes, I would occasionally bring some over to Wassa Project, so perhaps a tiny crack. I would be at each person's home. I never needed a place to stay. Do you act as though you're cleaning your couch? You were an admirer. You pleaded with us. You were an admirer, a fan. You didn't grow up with us. I don't see you in any of this. None of it is where you're from. So you can sit around and pretend that you've been around all of this Harlem Salem Sanans, and you've ever seen someone from Harlem attempt to act like they're from Harlem so badly that you have to keep saying, "I'm from Harlem." Who knows who's from Harlem? Saying, "You're from Harlem" is not necessary. That's the first and most important thing. After listening to all of these mixtapes, you were enthralled and pleaded for someone to visit your home. That's how you entered. We thought, yo, Joe Mo's a nice guy. And you were like, yo, I think I'll teach him how to rap. In fact, Mace taught you how to rap. In actuality, you learned how to rap from him. You don't express it. Start this, and I'm not doing that. And you began to think that you made the diplomats, which is only if people would like to believe that. Then look, I have a Brooklyn Bridge in Brooklyn that I can sell you to, my Anstra. It seems that Jim wanted to show off his wealth with Cam and was duped once more. He enjoys their podcasting endeavors. We make more money than you, they claimed. I know you don't want to play the Cash App, diplomats. Cash App. Open your bank account. You ain't Cash App, aren't even on the phone when we see each other. You don't want to check this guy's account balance by opening the phone. You earn $2 million. You don't want a no ATM fight, I know. We earn more than you do. You're saying, oh, they are phone, are podcasting. We're getting chicken, of course. We earn more than you do. You had better come. Do you want a job? We may have a position for you. I tried to take it easy on you. But what was even more disgusting were his claims about New York dominance, the hallucination of Nas. When it comes to performing music, I'm not one to play with. The majority of players have been in the game for as long as I have, but they are no longer present at all. They're long gone. They are unable to compete in music at this level. Not at all. I am currently capable of competing at the highest level. Forget about it. Against anyone. Particularly among my cohort from my era. I give them a spanking. Whoever puts in the booth for me doesn't matter to me. And tonight, I have the funds to support it. That's the distinction. I'm not a gamer. Tell them to bring 100 tonight, whoever it is. The most recent assertion made by Jim Jones was that he is a superior rapper over Nas. Jim actually dared legends to meet him in the booth, claiming he could rap circles around anyone from his period. It's unlikely that Nas has ever experienced what I did for him. He has never before gone viral. Never. In his entire life, he has never been discussed in such a way. The last time he was in a situation like this, Jay was pounding him while others were making comparisons to him. Have you heard? Yes, he did. Like that. Let's simply discuss the semantics of it, rather than discussing other people's careers. Since I was discussing Nas. All right. I don't know Nas well enough to speak with him. You don't have a chat with. We can have that as well. Do you dig? I didn't really give a damn about, but I noticed that you did. In Say Less, I witnessed you doing this. In the studio, I witnessed you doing this. Who wants? It's up. Who wants to go to the booth? You'll say, pulling out the 100K. 100%, I don't have 100 on me now. I had about 40 or 50 on me. Here it is, lawfing all of you right now. And this is here, but it's not a money thing, have you heard? Money is at stake if you want to get busy. Anybody from my time period, please. You know, before my time, I began in 2003. Remember that. Let's be clear. Yes, I signed my contract at that time. Hip-hop rivalry is fantastic, but respect and common sense need to be taken into consideration. This is the same Nas that was recognized at the 2024 Grand Master Awards, won a Grammy in 2021, and is widely regarded as one of the finest lyricists in history. However, Jim lately changed his mind and claimed to be a marketing guru. He's in two lanes then. Are you truly attempting to enter the booth and engage in combat with legends, or are you just saying this to get influence? And retrieve my Billboard receipts. But let's talk about one thing. Jim Jones has 9 entries in the Billboard 200, 3 of which are in the top 10, but none of them are number 1. Nas has 27 entries, 16 of which are in the top 10, and 6 of which have peaked at number 1 on the Billboard 200. I'm still rapping at a high level in the game as of 2025. Come into the booth if Nas wants to smoke. I'll round him in circles. Next, Harlem residents were asked to pick between Jim Jones and Nas. The outcome was embarrassing. Every single person selected Nas, with some even giggling at the question. What's the query? What is the query? What are Jim Jones and Nas? Whoa. As a Harlem resident, I will never ever treat Nas disrespectfully, Jimmy. That's the bro, first and foremost. That's Uncle Jomo. But first and foremost, does he really need to sit down? Jim Jones or Nas?
Nas.
Jim Jones or Nas?
All right.
That was the question I was going to pose. Nas, Jim Jones or Nas?
Nas, okay. Lawfing, Jim Jones or Nas? Is that a serious inquiry?
Indeed, it is. Nas has no money. Okay, a clown is Jim Jones. Jim Jones or Nas?
Come on, is that a query?
Hey,
Is that a query?
hello, buddy. Jim Jones or Nas? I won't reveal your identity. Hey. Nas is still there. Thanks to Nas for the picture. Okay, Jim Jones or Nas? You know? Did Jim Jones or Nas say that? Oh, Nas. Jim Jones or Nas, Loffing. Oh, Nas. I won't tell lies. Come on. But Jim Jones, Mas Haffa, followed suit, and the outcome's equally disastrous. Jim Jones or Nas? Yes. I'm not sure what type of Nas that is. I'm not sure what kind of inquiry it is. Yes, Nas. All right, okay. Hey, pay attention. Big dog, you need to change things up. I won't tell you lies.
Nas. Come on, I'm Nas, my Nas. What?
It's not even a question. All right. You too? Yes, indeed. All right. Nas, you are aware of my love for you, Capo. Nas. Nas is just that, Nas. In response, Nas opened a casino, the flex of Jay-Z. Let's start straight now. There appears to be some turmoil. You and The Rock Jay-Z attempted to disparage him, and you succeeded. I'm just... nobody. You made fun of him. All I know is that I made fun of Michael Jordan. Lawfing, we just don't have any drama, dude. No, we will address that. We will address that. First of all, you're not on anyone's top 10, according to what I've heard, Jay replied. Why should they stand behind you? Why? I don't have any plaques, he added. Was he talking incoherently, negatively about me? I'm wounded. Do you know what I believe it to be? Who would have thought that Jim Jones's song would be more popular than Jay-Z's? That's what I believe it to be. Jim Jones actively downplayed any problems with Jay-Z for years, including in 2016, when he asserted that everything was well between him and Roc Nation. You understand what I mean when I say, reel a real conversation up. When you sit down and gaze into someone's eyes, you can sense their energy and determine where they are. They must have sensed my suffering, since they knew where I was attempting to go and where I had been. However, further interviews showed the exact reverse. Jim acknowledged that being left out of profitable Rock Nation endeavors and financial transactions damaged his feelings. He went from pretending that Jay-Z was his friend to acknowledging that he felt excluded and ignored. Why is that Jim Jones man acting that way? I mean, I think hip-hop is great, but I have different opinions about it. Hip-hop is a competitive sport, of course. But on the other hand, some individuals feel that they shouldn't be allowed to call you by name until they have contributed to the genre. I've accomplished too much with this music to even need to respond to that query. For example, who is Jim Jones? His is not on anyone's top 10 list, and perhaps not even his family's. He doesn't have a classic album or any hardware on his wall. Thus, he doesn't even register from an artistic and financial perspective. So why am I required to respond to that question? Do you understand what I mean? Since it is being monitored, people are discussing it. On the course, Dame Dash is yelling. Have you had a conversation with Dame? Of course not. I'm doing like my radar, though. I'm just talking about forgetting what I've done in hip-hop and stuff. Jim Jones or Jim Jenny Jones could be the culprit, whoever it is. As I mentioned last night, it's like the 8th man on the bench yelling at Jordan, "You're a bum." If you want to, you're like the 9th guy on the bench. I'm not even concerned about you. Hip-hop bloggers began criticizing his contradictory story because it was so clear. He also had a distorted memory of the era. Additionally, I was the most active person outside. At the time, I was undoubtedly the most attractive person on the streets. At the moment, and Jay were still the biggest from New York. Naturally, he was able to figure out how to enter the game in New York and still appear like Jay Big Dog, because he wasn't as hot as I was outside because I had the balling record and all that kind of stuff. Avoid playing with me. However, I was able to refute that later. Good-looking huge dog. We're going to remix this unzerd. Did you hear that? I'll yell at you. And it simply worked out well for us. As if they had never witnessed such emotion. Do you dig? For example, it's named chess rather than checkers. Have you heard? The informant or the imposter. Jim Jones claimed to be a high-ranking blood member for years, referring to himself as a general and discussing issuing commands. However, an intriguing development occurred when the 6699 federal case revealed 9 Trey wiretaps. Jim was never charged, despite being recorded on tape talking about gang business. That's awesome, but later on he was robbed. Yes, quite violent. Fantastic. Super. So except for running about with 100 armed security guards all day, there isn't really much he can do. Do you understand what I mean? He will be shot to death. He is not receiving adequate compensation for that. It is a fact. It is a fact. Additionally, he recently cancelled every show. Additionally, he is no longer a member of a gang. No, he is nothing. Hip-hop lawyers and legal experts emphasized the disparity. Why weren't you charged if you were actually making calls, as suggested by the wiretap? He's not incarcerated at the moment for a reason. Please share your thoughts with us in the comments. Additionally, he claimed to be accepted in a Los Angeles gang area. According to WAC 100, he paid for approval. After offering WAC cash for a pass in Compton, he started flaunting himself at parks on Instagram, letting everyone know where he was hanging out. I had birthday parties in Enterprise Park, you know, and I definitely put it down in California and Louisiana. You understand what I mean about Enterprise Park if you're from Los Angeles. Indeed, I host Birthday Clear's throat parties at Enterprise Park. Do you understand what I mean? This is the kind of that I was performing when they were pretending that the East Coast was made up, and that they were merely acting. And I knew we weren't. And the gangbanging was a huge success for me, because I'm a huge fan of West Coast culture. Being a fan of Snoop and the way he handled it was storming my culture. In fact, I had the courage to build a bridge, even though I knew it wouldn't be the simplest task. I had a birthday celebration at Enterprise Park many years ago, but it wasn't in this park. I had a great time on the west side. His outfit is costing him more money than his CD did. Laughing, I informed him that the trip to Compton would not be successful, my friend. It's not going to work to travel to Compton 10 and 9. I'll be honest, dude. I will maintain it at 100. I don't know how much of a clown you look like in 2025, racing back for a Compton stamp, which is why I think the city makes them act that way. Have you ever witnessed me requesting a Compton stamp? Now, what has happened? New York. You're from New York. He sensed it. I'm going to pay these and head to the park. Compton is not where I'm from. Bro, I'm not from Compton, I say. I don't care which park you visit in Compton. He seemed to be making a statement about me. So is he a snitch or a blood? He expressed his thoughts with a face full of love. Listen, I condemn some of this. Because I grew up in gangs. I was, but when we get it, you get what I mean. The Jim Jones' ass is not like that. Do you understand what I mean? Is he a moron? He has never appeared on a blood set. Oh no. Do you understand what I mean? Colors is the closest thing he has ever seen to a blood set. Oh, I see. Do you understand what I mean? Oh, I see, cousin. He hasn't been on Palm Room Street. He hasn't visited Emerald Hills Buddy Boys. He has not visited Lincoln Park. He worked hard and hasn't visited any of those locations. He's a doll dressed up. Oh, no. However, that's what they're thinking when they tell these children what they must do. You are not required to join a gang. Yes, yes. The 69 phone tap. Yo, hold on. Wait, let me just get this off my shoulders, Yo Jim. My name is Yo, Jim Yo Whack. While it's still early, let me just let you know what kind of person I am. Jim Jones, correct? He had the same running style as I did 10 years prior to our meeting. The dip set that was just over there, Jim Jones, was dancing and singing endless verses. Jim Jones ran beside Jordan, Cafano and Shotty, correct? Rolling Martin, Roll Murder, Mel Matrix and Ja Mel Jones. For Quan, he was in charge of Fubanga. Quan was running with all of the kitties I ran with and got a daddy for. But I can't remember his last name. Do you know what Jim Jones did? None of them were taken care of by it. Mel Murder was on Gates and Marcus Garvey with his baby mother. Roland Martin was only 9 years old, and Shorty was sleeping on the rug of Madison between Tompkins and Troop. He failed the trial. Shorty was sleeping on the rug that drove a 63 Benz in 6 months while living in a condo and attending meetings with Kanye. Kanye was driving him to board meetings and Yeezy meetings. Everything was all Matrix's own. Roland Martin returned home to a brand new AP watch, money, cars and everything. His children were eating, that none of them were taken care of by Jim Jones. Instead, I took care of them. In addition, Jim Jones was caught on wiretap and informed Jamal that he had been caught. Jim Jones was apprehended via wiretapping. It is a fact. On a wiretap of my case, Jim Jones was heard telling Jamal Jones, my big friend Mel Matrix, to go get rid of my security. How do you do it? How do you fire at them? In New York, they have no license to carry a weapon. How is that currently free? With the message, lol, individual one is calling the shots out here. 50 had to weigh in on this one. 50 was making a joke about the court transcript, referring to Jones as individual one. I am aware that you are employed, so please refrain from calling me a gangster. Yes, I recently watched The Breakfast Club. Jimmy popping all that Jimmy. I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we will be at the Gucci store. We are Gucci, boo-boo. Jimmy, they were like Maricota Moneta Coca-Cola Pedro, the crybaby. The Blood King was going to you up. Jim Jones got emotional when talking about Dipset's demise in an interview with Funkmaster Flex. As a result, many videos of him crying in the studio went viral. These fools and all of their stuff. But yeah, you would understand if you actually lived the last 20 years that I did. For this, I risked everything, and I accepted it with a smile. Even when they disregarded me, doubted me, and advised me to enter a plea while I was on trial. Accept what plea? We don't accept appeals. By the grace of God, the trial was dismissed because there was insufficient evidence of a shooting that occurred uptown over Cameron. Have you heard? That's how I went to trial over Luscam. That's how I went to court about Msams whenever I appear in the news. It's always about diplomats. Diplomats. It would be over if I were sued, and like that. What did it do when I arrived at the club 30 deep, kicking ass? The diplomats looked good as a result. Have you heard? Later on, he attempted to dismiss the incident by claiming that social media had exaggerated it. Although he insisted he wasn't actually crying, the video was unmistakable, and it went viral and continues to follow him. hip-hop's Twitter accounts were aware of the irony of someone who established their reputation on radio by being rough and emotional. My grandmother passes away. She brought me up from infancy. My grandmother is not something I discuss much. You know, I'm aware that you brought this up when I shot it. I don't discuss it. I am aware. She made a lot of money. Yes. She said yes, as she was unable to see her grandson's transformation into a truly amazing person. If I spent those 2 seconds with her, I wouldn't feel at ease living on the streets. Oh, I see. Apart from his feelings, his athletic assertions were as absurd. Boxing cap. Jim Jones frequently shared videos of himself working out and shadowboxing on social media in an attempt to show off his fighting prowess. His form turned into a meme, rather than impressing anyone. His technique was criticized by Twitter accounts, and reaction videos began to appear. They ridiculed his small legs, his punches, and his boxing stance. Yes, I noticed that you folks are discussing my legs. You most likely won't consider exercising if you have no knowledge of genetics. For those who claim, I don't have any legs, here is a small challenge. I then implore everyone who is speaking to post it in the same manner. Easy. I'll stop talking if we do this. I'll stop talking if you do that. I'll stop talking if you do this. He was also made fun of by other rappers.
Apple. Baby, I'm outside. Apple.
Baby, I'm outside. What's happening? 145th.
Do you understand what I mean?
You know what I mean. We're at 145th and Lennox. Are you okay? We're outside on the ground, but I know you have a vamp life, and I'm the opposite. It's early in the morning, you get what I mean? That's a work, Cabo. Baby, we're here. Baby, that's work. Yes, what do I mean? Baby, there are no justifications. Yes. What am I doing outside? Yes. COVID assertions. After catching the virus during his Vazoo's struggle, Jim Jones released a public service announcement for COVID. Oh, I see. Jim Jones is delivering a serious COVID PSA because, to be honest, after doing the entire Vazoo's, I wondered whether there was any kind of process in place at Madison Square Garden's Hulu Theatre in New York because so many people were on stage. I didn't see many masks, but I did spot one fat Joe with his mask on. He did, in fact, post this. You heard that COVID is real? While I was racing about, pretending to be Superman, COVID completely outclassed Superman. I so implore and exhort everyone to keep masking up. Please keep washing your hands and keep as far away from others as you can. You know what I mean. I truly felt it, and I don't want anyone to feel the same way. I have no authority over the FDC. I'm not here to advise you to be vaccinated. I'm only here to advise you to look after yourself, since it's very important. And I'm appreciative that my health has returned. I'll see you all shortly. Jones stated that he takes 5 showers a day to explain his confidence in preventing COVID. He then claimed that the Locks gave it to him on Drink Champs. It's Jim Jones, all right. He claims to have contracted COVID from the Locks. This is what he said about the Drink Champs teaser. Following verses, I contracted COVID-19. I only caught it once. Give you COVID? Laughing, I got COVID from the Locks. They gave me COVID, guy, on top of everything else that evening. I couldn't have won for free. Rap news sources and social media instantly ridiculed the assertion as an example of Jim's propensity for saying absurd things. Cameron reveals the CEO's deception. I'm not a soldier for him. No, I'm his partner, however. I had to do what was necessary for the adventure we had to take. I played my part because of this. I did what I was meant to do, which is why I can be here and talk to you. I don't think I could have achieved this level of accomplishment or elegance if I hadn't. I assumed my current role. My companion is Cam. I'm not an artist for him. I was Diplomat's CEO. With him, I created Diplomats. I accompanied him on every step of the way. I restrained him. I adopted the stance of restraining him. We only need to demonstrate Jimmy's backpedaling before we reach Killer. He came clean about his own deceit. I did what I did with Diplomats out of pure love. I'm a CEO, you said. I've never been without documentation. Nothing I possessed had my name on it, and everything has his name on it. I wrote almost every album, but I never received a publication check for it. I never received any credit for my writing. Not at all. My name was never associated with anything unrelated to Diplomats. Have you heard? He was CEO in one interview, he's crying in the next one. I taught you how to rap. Wait. how you managed the entire company. How did you create diplomats? None of this stuff is made by you. You were just there. I set you down. You were a wonderful person when I took you out of the free crib. That's how you initially got down. Forget about it. Jim wasn't the CEO or a co-founder. He begged his way into the group because he was a huge fan. I'm all for change and innovation, but I don't support riding the coattail of and then trying to pull a practical joke on the you said that you were riding the entire time. That bothers me. When I initially started not performing music, people would come to me and say things like, "Oh, I love you," this and that. You see that in a year from now, he thinks he's better than you. I was just giving you instructions on everything. Are you now superior to me? Leave this place. That's not how I like Unstrogger, and many rappers engage in that behavior. You know, "Oh, you're the GOAT. You're the da-da-da-da this." Then, 2 years later, you see her with a hot record, and people think he's capable of hurling rocks at the skies. The contradictory pattern. If you're being completely honest, how would you place yourself among New York rappers when you look back on your career? 10th, 15th, 20th? How would I rank myself? I don't care about ranking in the top 10. I'll rank my own. Money is important to me. Do you understand what I mean? And you're discussing all these musicians who followed me. I began as a hype man and entered after they had already heard. As you can see on the internet, I am currently the hype man. There is a significant variation in what you heard. I'm referring to the current day and our current activities. Don't worry about the past. I don't give a damn about what you used to do. Right now, what can you do? You heard, and you're not in it if you're not in it. Do you dig? However, I'm fully committed to it and circumvent everyone who begs to differ. Inform them to come see me at the booth. All we have to discuss is that you know what's going on, but it's not a shot at any specific individual. I'm from that time period. Age of engagement. Have you heard of it? What are we with then? The CEO who was merely a fanboy, the gang boss who was never prosecuted, the tough guy who sobs on the radio, and now, with his new assertion that he is superior to any rapper from his era, he has achieved the pinnacle of insanity. His lies are now too evident to overlook, and the hip-hop community is finally calling him out. Jim Jones keeps changing, from stating he doesn't care about rankings while fervently seeking approval to saying he wants to smoke with anyone while avoiding real conflict. What are your thoughts then? Tell us in the comments. Check out the videos that appear on the screen if you'd like to see more like this. Please support us by leaving comments, liking, sharing, and make sure to hit the bell and subscribe to the channel if you're new so you can be informed when new videos are posted. Thank you for coming, and as always, we'll see you in the next one.